Whether it's a witch that takes your children, or a ghost ship that tells your fate, here's a list of 15 of the most popular urban legends. Skinned Tom of Tennessee. Skinned Tom was a handsome man who had many girlfriends, one of which happened to be a married woman. One night, him and this woman went to a make-out point kind of area, and the husband had followed them. As a punishment, he did not just stab his wife, but he also skinned Tom alive. Later, whenever he came to remove the body, Tom disappeared. The legend goes that if you're at a make-out point and you're not being faithful to the one you're with, then Skinned Tom takes his revenge on you. The Platte River ship of Wyoming. It's said that a fog or a mist will roll over the river, and through there you can see a ship. On that ship, the crew, frozen solid. It's rumored that the person that's on the ship will soon die. Radioactive Hornets of Nebraska. The legend goes that as a side effect of the Fukushima nuclear disaster, radioactive hornets have invaded Nebraska, which really doesn't make any sense because this is where Nebraska is, and this is where Fukushima is. What? What the f? Cropsey, New York. The Boogeyman of Staten Island. Rumored to be an escaped mental patient with a hook for a hand who attacked children and drugged them to underground tunnels hidden underneath an abandoned hospital. The interesting thing about this is after the legend had already been established, in the 1980s, a madman actually did start to murder children in that area. His name was Andre Rand. Boo Hags of South Carolina. A boo hag is a kind of witch that slips out of her skin at night and flies around causing all kinds of trouble. Rumored to be able to kill a man by sucking the blood out of his nose. The Candy Lady of Texas. Children would find candy on their windowsills at night. After a while, the candy wrapper would have a message written in it to please come and play with me. They were signed the Candy Lady. The rumor goes that if you were to go play with her, that not only would she attack you, but she would viciously gouge your eyes out and drag you to hell. The Phantom Hitchhiker of Montana. The legend goes that an old Native American man with long black hair wearing a blue jean jacket would signal you for a ride. Once pulled over, he would attack you or jump on your car. Many of the reports have said that he would also chase your car. The Devil's Chair of Florida. Some versions say something dreadful will happen to anybody who's brave enough to sit in the chair. Franco TV sat in the chair, and he seemed to be fine. Other versions say that it has to be during Halloween. The Bunnyman of Northern Virginia. One night, a bus full of mental patients crashed, and one man escaped. His name was Douglas Griffin. Weeks later, rabbit corpses appeared in the woods. It had appeared that Douglas had been eating the bunnies to stay alive. One Halloween night, a group of kids hanging out by the Bunnyman Bridge started to see a light in the distance, and the rumors say that in a flash, they were hung up just like the rabbits were, and gutted. As you saw from the thumbnail of this video, I asked my friend Video Creep to come and talk about some of these urban legends, so I'm just going to let him get right into it.
First and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much for even having me on your channel. This is really exciting, and I'm really digging the opportunity to be able to talk about cryptids with you. So we're going to get right into it. The very first place that we're going to be going to is Staten, Kansas, and we're going to be talking about a place called the Gateway to Hell. Now, this isn't unusual. There's a ton of stories about gateways that are here in America. So the gateway that we're going to be talking about in Staten, Kansas is actually a stairway that can be found in an old demolished church. Twice a year, on the spring equinox and on Halloween, they say that this stairway leads to the other side. Now, what's to say is on this other side? I couldn't tell you. I don't spend any time in Kansas. I'm not going to Kansas. And when I do, I'm probably not going to check this place out. Next stop is Louisiana, where we're going to be talking about the Rougarou. This motherfucker is pale as shit, and he's reminiscent of a werewolf. You can find this guy underneath the city streets in the swamps. The purpose of the Rougarou is to terrify children, essentially, into behaving the right way. He's like Belschnickel or fucking Krampus. But on the reverse, if you're not a kid, but you are a devout Catholic and you're going through Lent and you kind of fuck up, you're gonna get a visit from this guy too. So if you're in Louisiana and it happens to be Lent, You make sure you don't eat that extra slice of pizza. You stick to that diet, or the Rougarou will visit you. Moving right along to the next state, we're going to be heading over to Maryland, so that way we can talk about the fucking goat man. This is maybe one of my favorites on this list because it had such far-reaching repercussions. The USDA actually came out saying that, hey, though we make your meat, we did not make this guy. Can you imagine just trying to preserve our meat and just stay afloat doing what you can and then accidentally creating this goat creature? I'm gonna go ahead and say that if they accidentally did that, they're probably not preserving our meat right. And this guy isn't void of a personality or anything, like he has a very specific thing that he likes to do. Let me paint a little scenario for you. You got a cute little 15-year-old, you're 16, everything's matching up and shit. You take her up the hill to make out on whatever town you're in's lover's lane, specifically Maryland this time around. And you finally get that hand up the shirt and the tongues feel good, and then all of a sudden, bah! There's a fucking goat here. No, it's a man. It's the fucking goat man. Fucked. And a step further, because he doesn't just want to fuck with kids, he's fucking with adults, he's fucking with people on the road. This guy has caused so many accidents on Crybaby Bridge that he has become a major local legend out in Maryland. You're trying to get to Lover's Lane for a little bit of fucking, and you can't even cross Crybaby Bridge? Fuck you, goat man. But damn, are you interesting. Up next is going to be the Pukwudgie. And you can find this creature dwelling in the Hockomock Swamp in Massachusetts. This guy looks like everything you don't want your catfish to look like. He's short and chubby and Igor-esque with quills coming out of his back like a fucking porcupine. He's all gray like a werewolf. What an abomination, this fucking thing. And this motherfucker is a trickster. Like, if you run into this guy, he's smart enough to lure you off of a fucking cliff. A cliff! Or worse, quicksand in a swamp? I don't know about you guys, but as an adult, I'm stoked that quicksand isn't a problem in my fucking life. Can you imagine having one problem where you run into this fat porcupine ego motherfucker, and then the next thing you know, you're in quicksand? Two fucking problems that you can't pre-anticipate. Fuck the Pukwudgie. You know, it's funny, Eminem is from Detroit, which is where we're going for our next cryptid. And you hear him talk a lot about his baby mama and his mother and his rough life in Detroit. Kind of weird that we never hear about this motherfucker. This guy is called the Nain Rogue, and let me tell you all about his bag. The Nain Rogue is a tiny little like fucking hobgoblin type thing. This guy has foresight like a motherfucker. He knows when things are gonna happen before they happen. How does he know these things? Because this motherfucker is cursing everybody. One of the most significant times that he was seen was in the 1805 fires, which nearly killed everybody in Detroit at the time. It's said that he was also responsible for the 1976 ice storm that went down in Detroit. And it's also believed that he was behind the 1968 riots of Detroit. These are all major historical events that have happened in this city. The Nain Rogue is so influential in Detroit that yearly they have something called the Banishment Parade. Some super 1400s believing ass shit. Just so that way this guy doesn't come back and Detroit can be cool. But I gotta break it to you, Detroit, until you figure this out, it's not cool. And saving the best for last, we're gonna be talking about the Wendigo from North Dakota, northern Minnesota. Let me tell you a little something about Wendy here. When you think about the biggest of monsters, it is ridiculous that this guy doesn't come up, considering he is one of the oldest in the fucking game. Like, we've been worried about this guy since it was like native times and shit. The Native Americans used to go out and hunt these 15-foot tall, shape-shifting creatures. And they've been on that game, even up until the 20th century. Now, the Native Americans weren't hunting these dudes so that way they can eat them and fucking live and prosper and do all the things that Native Americans were doing. They wanted these motherfuckers done, and they couldn't eat them even if they wanted to. One of the big things to know about the Wendigo is that you, yourself, could potentially turn into one. It's said that if you eat the flesh of another human being, over time you will eventually become this creature. And that is a shitty existence, because these aren't just like beasts, they're also kind of like ghosts. Like, there's no just fucking shooting this thing with a silver bullet. So even if you do eat another human being and you become one of these pieces of shit, you're gonna be getting hunted by Native Americans, and you're gonna be roaming not only our planet, but the planet after ours. Once again, I want to thank you so much for even having me on this channel and giving me the opportunity to talk about these really, really cool creatures. I don't get to do a whole lot of it on my channel, Video Creep, which if you're into horror reviews and comedy, come over and check my channel out. But that said, that's going to be it for me, and I can't wait until the next time that I get to talk about this with you again.
Thank you for watching till the end of the video. I wanted to give a big thank you to Video Creep for all the work he's done on this video. Please, go check out his channel. I'm a big fan of his videos, and I'm sure you will be too. Also, I would like to give a thank you to Cassie Olinger, Soul Searching, and As the Raven Dreams for retweeting my last video tweet. A quick shout out to Scare Factor for supporting my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Subscribe to Video Creep.